Hybrid law schools. That's today's topic. This is part of our series concerning going to law school when you are in your 40s and beyond. And I want to talk today about hybrid law school as an option. It's available to anybody, so you don't have to be in your 40s or beyond to choose a hybrid law school option. But for those people who have a family and other commitments, a job, a hybrid option might be right for you. And before I get into the video, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it, and it helps us reach more people. So traditionally, you would go to law school the same way you would go to a college or undergraduate program. You'd show up in person, there would be classmates, and you'd have a professor standing in front of you going through the lecture or lessons. Now, they traditionally offered two approaches. There's the full-time law school, which was a 3-year program, and then there was the evening program for people like myself. I had a full-time job working in Manhattan, and so I could only afford to go to law school at night because I couldn't not work. And so the day program was a 3-year program, the night program was a 4-year program. Now imagine when you are in your 40s or 50s or 60s and you have a family and other commitments, getting to a physical law school can be a significant impediment. And it prevented a lot of people who had families and commitments from going to law school, even if it was their dream. Well, over the years, things have changed, and technology has allowed us to do a lot of work remotely. Even in my day-to-day work, a lot of depositions and court appearances and hearings and things of that nature are done via Zoom or Microsoft Teams. Technological advances have really made hybrid learning a possibility for law school. So what is hybrid learning exactly? It is a combination of in-person and video-based learning. A hybrid program allows people, especially those over 40, who need that flexibility to be able to now complete law school and earn a JD without having to completely revamp their lifestyle. While each school is different, generally how it works is you take online courses or other online learning, whether it's video, text-based, or you're just given assignments via online learning platforms. And then you, throughout the year, have to physically attend some classes in school. But that physical attendance could be 4 times a year, and maybe you're only giving up 3 to 5 days of your life per session that you have to appear in person. And this is great because you can do the bulk of your learning and coursework remotely. It's flexible, it fits around your schedule, and then depending upon the school, you have those in-person requirements. So let's talk about some of the benefits of hybrid learning. Obviously, we've mentioned flexibility. It allows people who have full-time jobs, children, and other commitments to be able to work law school into their schedule without having to give up their family, give up their job, and continue to live the life that they're accustomed to living. Another benefit is obvious. It's the reduced commute. Now, I told you that I went to law school in New York City, and I had to commute to Brooklyn every day to go to my classes. So I'd work a full day, and then I would commute to Brooklyn. And you would think that New York City and Brooklyn wouldn't be too terrible of a commute. But, taking the subway, there were all kinds of things that would pop up. Sometimes the trains would break down and I wouldn't get home till 3 in the morning. Sometimes I had to take a bus. So that whole hassle is eliminated with hybrid learning. Another benefit is the interactive nature of hybrid learning. In-person learning, there were people in my class who never spoke. They sat in the classroom, the professor would lecture. It's not like a situation where you could raise your hand and ask a question like you would in traditional school. Half the time, the professor didn't even know who was in his class or who he was talking to. Sometimes they would use the Socratic method and call on people, put them on the spot, and embarrass them when they didn't know the answers. But a lot of professors had no idea who you were. and the students had no way of actually interacting with the professor. Now, this happened in first year, where the classes were much bigger and you weren't selecting an elective course, and where it was a smaller class of maybe 5 to 20 people. But in those bigger classes, the interactive nature was lacking, at least in my experience and with a lot of my colleagues. We shared the same experience, that you were just a number sitting in an audience listening to somebody lecture. But with hybrid learning, you have more of the ability to interact, albeit digitally, but there's an interactive component that was missing from traditional law school. So hybrid learning sounds great. It's flexible, it's convenient, there's no commute, you get interaction, you have access to digital materials. So why wouldn't you want to go? All right, well, there are some setbacks, and you have to be the right person to be able to fit into a hybrid learning scheme. You need to have self-discipline. Nobody is going to be calling on you in class if you look like you're falling asleep. It's all on you. You have to set your own timelines. You have to devote time to learning, to studying, to doing the actual hybrid courses. So there is a level of self-discipline that's required. And some people find it challenging. If they're not being forced to go into a classroom or a school, they oftentimes will put it off to the last minute. You can't do that. You have to have some level of competency with technology. You have to be able to use PDFs and computers and understand the general basics of the internet. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but believe it or not, there are people that are in their 70s and 80s who've decided to go to law school, and those people find that technological component a little challenging. So for them, a hybrid option is more of a learning curve. And if you're willing to commit at that age to go to law school and to learn how to use the technology the right way, more power to you. But it is, for some people, a disadvantage, because instead of going into the classroom and listening to a professor lecture, you have to be savvy enough with technology to be able to make it work for you. Another possible drawback to hybrid learning is that some people really like to have that face-to-face interaction. They want to sit in a classroom. They want to be able to ask a question if they have one, and have somebody in front of them responding. And so if you're looking for that interactive, face-to-face, more social component, you might find hybrid learning to be more of a challenge. Overall, hybrid learning creates opportunities for people that we've never had before. The idea of going to law school for some people that were above 40 was just an impossibility. It was just an unaccomplishable dream, because there are so many things that were pulling at you on a daily basis. Going to work, picking up your kids, dealing with your kids' sporting activities. When were you going to find time to go to law school? But with hybrid learning, it actually is doable, because you can work your schedule around your online learning. It's, again, something that you have to be disciplined with. You have to be somebody that can manage their time, and you've got to be able to deal with the technology and the lack of face-to-face or social interaction. But if you can do that, then hybrid learning can be your path to graduating from law school and getting the JD that you've always thought about having. There are a number of schools across the country that offer hybrid learning, and really all you have to do is do a little Google search and you'll find those hybrid programs. Knowing now that there are hybrid options out there, if you are over 40 and have commitments, want to go to law school, you should look into hybrid learning. And even those people who are not over 40, maybe you just have another job, or you have a career that you're enjoying, but you want to expand your horizons, or maybe you can get a promotion if you have a Juris Doctorate degree, then in that case, hybrid learning might be good for you too. More and more law schools are offering a hybrid program. It gives you the ability to get that Juris Doctorate, and even if you so choose, to go on to take the bar exam and then be a practicing attorney. Now, I say that because not everybody that goes to law school that obtains a Juris Doctorate degree wants to be a lawyer. They might need it for their career. It might give them a larger salary. It might make them more secure in their existing job. You know, sometimes, like I've talked about in the prior video, you don't need to be a lawyer to benefit from a JD. So I'll leave a link to that video below in the description so you can check that out. But if you are serious about going to law school, but you are struggling with the idea of having to go to a physical location every day, then I would encourage you to explore the benefits of hybrid learning and a hybrid law school. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. And as I mentioned in my prior video, we're doing a bit of a series on going to law school after 40. So there will be some additional videos, and I'll link them all together once they're done. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed this.